Would you be a police officer, James?
I don't think they'd have me.
I was just about, as it came out of my mouth,
silly question.
I was just thinking, I don't know why I'm asking you, because I know the answer is, if I went to Cressida Dick and went, hey girl, I've got a new recruit for you, I'm not sure the response, but go on anyway, would you be?
I've got to say, I'm so old that, I can remember when Private Eye used to describe the police force as the police violence, as we used to call it. And I wonder what these 19-year-olds in Northamptonshire are watching on TV. I mean, it's full of police violence, Now, not every policeman is violent, but, you would think that they vaguely knew what they were letting themselves in for. I think what's underneath this is really the College of Policing being responsible for the dubious legislation around hate crimes, and now the dubious view, especially if you take graduate nurses' schemes into account, that every policeman or woman must be a graduate. And, what's at stake with any job like that, or security or something like that? Have you got any nerve? Have you got any audacity when it's required for? Have you got the character? And we could call them all snowflakes, but that's just being rude. That doesn't do it for me. No. I think... Really, what surprised me was in year one of these apprenticeships in Northamptonshire, you're technically qualified to go on patrol alone. I never see a constable on patrol, alone or as it used to be in pairs, right? They're too busy clocking hate crimes, in my view, rather than, catching villains. So we've got to reform it.
Yeah. Sorry, Jo, you was about to come in.
No, I do think this whole thing about, this obsession with having a degree is at the root of the problem, because there's no self-selection. The only self-selection in this is, I want a degree. Oh, do you know what? I wish I'd done something else. But you sort of wonder, as James says, have they not seen Line of Duty? Have they not seen any of the, TV programmes on call, sort of hidden cameras with the police on duty? Have they not seen or read the news? It shows an astonishing lack of awareness, particularly self-awareness, but it is like the nursing campaign to have every nurse with a degree, because you immediately got rid of a whole layer of the SEN, the state-enrolled nurse, who were extremely capable, extremely sensible, compassionate, good people, mainly women, but not all women, and you then offered them the chance to either you're a nurse with a degree or you're a health assistant. I think... And this is the same problem that we're going to face with the police. And actually in the story where this is reported, sorry, William, but they talk about, it would actually mean that people who've been in the services wouldn't be...
Well, there's a great quote in the article, actually. It says, an officer said, at 2:30 a.m. in the morning, when it's all kicking off outside a nightclub and I'm about to get out the police car, I would rather the person next to me had done 4 years in the army than have gotten a 2-1 in expressive dance.
Bang on.
But, William, see, I wonder, is there kind of a shift in terms of how we regard the police? So I remember when I was little and being brought up, the police were people that you must respect. You had to listen to them. Now, I must say, I feel a little bit sorry for the police. They seem to get diverted into all of these kind of peculiar things instead of what I would have imagined that you're being hired to do. And I don't know if people respect them in the way that they should or that they once did.
No, that's absolutely true. If you look at, if you speak to police officers, they will tell you that the general public respect for the police is at the lowest level ever. And it's a serious problem. But to this question, I think if the recruits are dropping out, remember there's two sides of this tennis net. They're picking the wrong recruits. I totally agree with you. I think an important part of policing is muscularity and actually intervention. And that is ex-military people. There was a grand tradition of people coming out of the services into the police. And I agree with Jo, far too many people are obsessed with the university degrees, far too many. And I think we need to get back to basic policing. My grandfather was a police officer in Liverpool for 30 years. Hospitalised twice, He policed dock strikes. Very, very rough environment.
A dog strike?
A dock strike.
Oh, I thought you said a dog strike.
Imagine what that would be like.
The famous Liverpool dog strike.
We were brought up on stories of a sergeant saying, with these striking stevedores with grappling hooks in their hands, very violent environment. And they would say, if you don't disperse, I'll get my officers to draw the batons and charge. And they were outnumbered massively You could not be a softie in that environment. You had to be tough. We're miles away from that, but the point is that they're recruiting. The point is that if the recruits are dropping out, they're picking the wrong recruits.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
And I think your point about respect for the police, part of the problem is that people don't ever come across a police officer because they're either in the cars, if they're visible at all, or, you know, if you do, particularly in rural areas, you know, we don't all live in big cities. You report a crime, well, the chances of you ever seeing a police officer or it being followed up are so remote.
But why do you think that is, though? Because a lot of people will say, I don't know, I got my bike nicked or my car got broken into and I reported and I was given a crime number and that was it. Why do you think that is? Is it a numbers?
Well, it's a lack of funding, it's a lack of resources, and quite clearly they have to prioritise, like every single organisation. We know that, you know.
There's something else, though, that I just noticed, if I may, just for a moment.
We're frightfully polite tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, no, well...
Like a dinner party.
I hope it's not my influence.
What I was astonished by, reading the report about Northamptonshire, is that 2/3 of their force have less than 2 years' service, and 88% have less than 4 years' service. So no wonder there's not much respect out there, you know, because they don't all look young, but some of them do look young, and they don't have the experience.
And they don't know the areas, they don't know the families, they don't know the history, and it's that thing of, you know, I know the mythical Dixon of Dock Green and the Bobby on the Beat doesn't necessarily exist, but you do sometimes need to have an interaction with people in order to have respect for them, whether it's doctors, police officers, teachers, car mechanics, or...
Well, I've got to say, this topic has got people, really, you guys really are messaging in. Janice has said, Michelle, I don't respect the police. They lost that when they started dancing in carnivals, taking the knees, wearing rainbow colours. What do you expect? She goes on to say, Simon has been in contact saying, Michelle, none of you on that panel have the right to comment. You should be a police officer and then comment. He's an ex-Metropolitan police officer.
Why don't we have the right to comment? I think we do. We're paid.
It's not very democratic,
And actually, I've been quite sympathetic, and I think a lot of rank-and-file police officers don't want all this woke. You know, a lot of this is governed by other things. You know, if you ask people, if you actually speak to people.
Yeah, I must say, I think that often police officers, you know, I mean, I tell you, if you are a police officer, by the way, whether current or previous, you're braver than me, because I have to say, I'm not sure that I would see some of the goings-on, particularly when you think of, like, all the knife crime and stuff like that, and I'm not sure that I would want to risk my personal safety to get in and break that up. So if you do, and you run towards that danger, then I, for one, certainly wholeheartedly respect you, but nonetheless, you can't deny that there are clearly some challenges, hence you've got so many vacancies, hence you've got so many people kind of dropping out. So hence, I think we absolutely should be debating that